We're live. We should be live, but I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me. So hang on a second.
I made it my goal to reduce my cortisol belly as
Okay, yes, you did. Oh, yes, so we are live. Fantastic. Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode with me. I'm Dr. Sylvia, and this is Ask Away Health. You are so very much welcome. It's been a long while. It feels like a long while since I did a stream. I think it was just a couple of weeks ago, but it's been so busy. How are you doing? How have you been? How was your last week? How was your weekend? How are you guys doing? So welcome to another episode. We're going to be talking about a couple of interesting issues that I've found on the internet recently. So I hope you're ready. Hope you're ready to contribute. I'd love to hear from you as usual. One of the things that we're going to be talking about is body transformation with menopause. And the person who's triggered this conversation is one of our UK radio personalities and has had a recent experience that she shared on social media that's got tongues wagging. So we're going to look at how that works. What are the benefits and risks of that procedure? Is it safe? Is it a scam? Should you do it? We're going to talk about this. And then we're going to look at something that's a little bit more serious, and that is about the NHS and whether or not it's forcing sterilization on unsuspecting women in very strange ways. When I first came across this, I was really alarmed at the story, but I'm going to take you through it. And again, I would love to hear what you think, what if you've heard about these issues and what you think about them. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Happy Sunday. Hope you're all getting ready for the new week. Absolutely great to have you here. Hi, 305 Capricorn. Thank you so much for joining. Where are you watching from? How's your Sunday going? Guys, please give this video a like just as we get started. And of course, consider subscribing to the channel if you're used to the videos that we do and the videos that we publish. We very much appreciate the support. And of course, don't forget that apart from the videos that we have here, you can also check out our website, askawayhealth.org. Once we finish with this video, I'll have the link in the description box below, and you'll find a link to our website. And there you can join our mailing list for the monthly newsletter. Actually, it's not monthly anymore. It's a weekly newsletter where we've got lots of practical health tips for different situations, different scenarios. You won't want to miss a copy. So please join the newsletter. You can also use the free symptom checker guide as part of the website. So if there's any symptoms that you're just not sure about, whether to give your doctor a ring about it, whether, what does it mean? Better than actually just searching Google or searching AI, you can get some personalized suggestions about these symptoms. So please check that out. And of course, you can always send an email inquiry using the email health information tool on the website askawayhealth.org. So I hope you're going to make use of any one of those tools that we use to help you to know your body better, help you to feel better, help to have conversations about your body. Okay, before we get started, and as I always do, let me just put up my disclaimer, because guys, you know that we talk about a lot of health information or health related issues here, but we do not give any health advice. We do not give any treatment. We do not recommend any particular drugs or anything at all, because, as I usually say, we don't have access to your medical information. I am not your registered doctor. My purpose for this is to provide information that will, help you or push you to have further conversations with your doctor. I did that a bit too soon, didn't I? Help you to have further conversations with your doctor, help you, give you information, help you to ask questions, help you to push a little bit, prod a little bit, but just, be more knowledgeable. But we can't give specific health advice. But that said, it's good to have you here. Let's just dive into the first issue. So what is it that brings us here? Well, I don't know if you've heard of Zoe Ball before. If you have, let me know in the comments section. But she's recently triggered an interesting conversation. Now, I'm going to share my screen so that we can all read through it together. We're not going to read through everything because it's a lengthy article, but we're just going to read the salient parts of the article. And I'm going to share my screen in a moment so that we're doing that at the same time. But the gist is about a treatment that she's had to tackle menopause, belly fat, menopause weight gain, which I'm sure that many of you are aware of, many of you may be going through, and it's a big issue. losing weight around menopause is a big issue because many women will know that this is, as you grow older, it's a lot more difficult to get rid of excess body weight. And wouldn't you know it, it will settle in the most difficult places to get rid of, around your tummy, around the hips, and the struggle is real because you go to the gym and you do all the crunches, you do all the core exercises, you do everything, you do all the cardio, you do all the hits and everything else. You eat healthy, definitely eat healthy, but for some reason that belly fat is so hard to shift or to shrink. And so we're looking at, what is it that we can do to help? And let me say here that while hormone replacement therapy, or HRT, is of value, particularly in dealing with hot flushes and these estrogen deficiency symptoms, it doesn't directly lead to weight gain. Even after it controls those symptoms, it doesn't directly lead to weight loss. I beg your pardon. It doesn't directly lead to weight loss. Sure, if we calm down all the hot flushes and night sweats, that can improve one's mood, improve one's motivation, which goes a long way towards helping you get back on track with losing weight, but it won't directly help you lose weight. So we do need, when you're thinking about menopause and women, as we go through that stage, as we get into that phase of life, it's not just about taking therapy. It's also about lifestyle changes that we're making, exercise and healthy eating, all the things that we should be doing to keep ourselves healthy. It's all geared towards maintaining a healthy weight, a healthy heart, healthy bones, and so on. It's not just one hormone pill or spray or gel or whatever that's going to solve that problem. It's a mixture of different tools, different strategies for us to have maximum health. But you know what? One of the things I really love about Zoe, and what you see, is how open she is about sharing this problem. And because she's done that, it's helped to bring it to the forefront, because we are all Zoe here. We all know, at least many of us will understand the challenge that she's gone through, and how this solution that she sort of hit upon will appear very, very attractive. So let me share my screen. I've given you a little bit of an intro into why all this is important. Let me share my screen. And again, I would love to hear from you guys. This is not just me talking, doing the talk. No, I'd like us to really, sort of get into the thing and be part of the, let's be part of the conversation. So hopefully, the screen is being shared. Hopefully you can see the article that I'm reading from. And it's from The Independent. So let's just go through it a little bit and then pick up one or two things. I've tried to mute. Yes, I've muted the video so nothing interrupts us, but let's go through. So it says, BBC Radio 2 star Zoe Ball has revealed her body transformation after undergoing one session of a stomach sculpting massage. Let me know if you've had a stomach sculpting massage, because you may be more of an expert. I haven't had one yet. I might change my mind after we've gone through all this. But let me know if you've had one yourself. The presenter, who's age 54, stunned her fans after sharing pictures of her stomach from before and after a 120-pound lymphatic drainage massage in London. The results showed Ball's stomach appearing to be significantly more toned and sculpted after just 1 hour of the treatment. Let me just stop sharing for a moment so that we can just digest this. Where's my stop sharing thing? Let's just digest this because it's so interesting. After 1 hour, and I showed the picture on the thumbnail. Let me just pull it up so that you can see it. This is the photo. This is what we're working with, guys. This is it. The top photo is before. This is Zoe's tummy. This is her upper abdomen, her tummy, her belly before the 1 hour, and this is the bottom picture is below. What is there not to like? Look at, you can see the muscles, you can see the tone. 1 hour. Honestly, this is amazing. This is amazing. Now, if you read the article further, which we'll pop back into it in a moment, if you read the article further, the therapist, the massage therapist who worked on Zoe, said it was a combination of different things: a Brazilian manual lymphatic drainage, ultrasonic cavitation, and radio frequency. All these things combined in this hour's session, this hour's treatment, led Zoe from having her tummy look like this at the top where it looks a little bit bloated, a little bit full. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not a bad tummy, honestly. It's not. Okay, it's not a bad tummy, but I can understand that she might feel bloated. She might feel that there's quite a bit of tummy fat that she wants to get rid of. Fair enough. But after an hour, she was left with the below picture, and everybody is stunned. Everybody is like, "What?" Everybody's like, "Wait, how? How?" Okay, let's go back to reading this article because we really need to get to the bottom of exactly how Zoe got this. We need to understand. So let's go back to the article and pick up from where we left off. Okay, so hopefully you guys should be seeing my screen again. Okay, so the massage therapist Sophie Yerby, who's an award-winning body contourist, performed the massage on Zoe and said that, just like I've just mentioned, that she had Brazilian sculpting, lymphatic drainage massage, and the purpose of these two procedures is to benefit people experiencing fluid retention, i.e. bloating, or menopause symptoms. Now, the article goes on to tell us that Zoe has had trouble with menopause symptoms. She's discussed this before, and how really distressing she felt about it. And then the therapist goes on to say that the lymphatic drainage treatment was combined to increase blood flow, help drain toxins, boost metabolism, reduce fluid retention, support the immune system, and sculpt and slim the body. And I add, friends, this was all in 1 hour. I just want to hear from you guys. If you're watching this now or on the replay, tell me, what do you guys think? All the buzzwords are being ticked here. Okay, all the buzzwords are being ticked. Increase blood flow, help drain toxins, boost metabolism, reduce fluid retention, support the immune system, sculpt and slim the body. Everything that we want to hear. Wow. And all this happened in an hour. And so that's why, when I brought up my when I heard about this, the first questions that came to mind, and I think these are the questions that will come to your mind as well. Is this a gimmick? Really? What's going on here? Come on. £120 an hour. Is it a gimmick? Does it work? How long is this going to last? And exactly what's going on? What is it doing in the body? And is it harmful? I think these are jokes aside. I know I'm laughing about this, but jokes aside. These are the questions I think anybody will be asking about this procedure. This is what you want to know. How healthy do you think this is? Is it something that you should try? Is it something that you should spend your money on? And what are the risk and health benefits? And this is what I want us to address, because I think a lot of women are going by the fact that they experience these symptoms. Like I said at the beginning, the menopause weight gain is a real challenge, is a real problem. Women are diligently doing everything that you're supposed to do to cut down on the weight, but it's not shifting. It's hard. And this can cause a lot of distress in addition to any other symptoms that people might be experiencing, body image changes that one cannot come to terms with or control. These are real challenges. But let's quickly finish this. Let's finish the rest of the article, and then we can sort of look at some of the things that we've put together to break down how we feel. So they go on to describe a lymphatic drainage massage as a special type of massage that stimulates the lymphatic system. They say there are different hand movements and sequences adapted for each person, and that the massage has become more and more popular thanks to a host of different celebrities, many of them from the United States. Although I don't know who Maya Jama is, but Kim Kardashian, Hailey Bieber, Jennifer Aniston are all fans of the treatment, are all American. And then the massage therapist says she added something called cavitation, that is the use of low-frequency ultrasound technology to help break down stubborn fat cells. She added, we finished with using radio frequency to tighten and firm the skin, leaving everything feeling lifted, smooth, and sculpted. And this was the post on Instagram. This was the post on Instagram with over 1,500 likes. And then Zoe's radio colleague, Gabby Roslin, commented on the post, wow, I so need that. I know many, many, many women, and as well as did Charlene Spiteri. And then somebody says, commented on the post to say that Zoe was just breathing in. So she was just sucking in her tummy. Zoe, they caught you. You were just sucking in your tummy. And Zoe replied, I'm not, I promise. So nope, she was not having us on. She was not faking. She definitely had this procedure. Let's talk about this, guys. Let's look at what's going on. So first of all, lymphatics, because this is a procedure that has medical implications. And what I want to look at is it safe or is it not? Should you do it? Should you not? Should you spend your money on it? Let's try and break that down in today's video. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Please don't forget to give this video a like if you're watching. Really appreciate that. So we're talking about the lymphatics because they've mentioned lymphatics. On the screen, you should be seeing a picture with green dots and lines. This is your lymphatic system in the body. It tends to follow the same way your blood vessels run. So it runs the same course or path as your blood vessels. And it goes right all through the body, right from the head all the way down. You have lymphatics. And these are important. Your lymphatics are really important. They are the vessels where so anything that comes out from inflammation, any kind of waste product or activities going on in your cells, after all the job is done and the body needs to get rid of them, to get them out of the organs or the cells, it transfers them from the blood vessels into the lymphatic system, and the lymphatic system drains away all that sort of waste inflammation products, drains it away to specific organs like the spleen, drains it away to organs where they're going to get rid of them, the liver, the kidney. That's the job. That's what the body does. Sometimes for some reasons and different conditions, the lymphatic system might get clogged up or get blocked. And there are certain conditions where this can happen. I have a few slides that I want to go through just to sort of explain things. So here is what manual lymphatic drainage is. It's actually a type of gentle massage that helps to clear lymphedema. Lymphedema is what happens when the lymphatic system blocks. So that picture I just showed you where you had all those green lines and dots and all that, that's the lymphatic system. If there's a blockage, that can sometimes happen because of certain illness. More commonly, or more that you'll probably be familiar with, is somebody who develops cancer. I don't know if you've ever heard or known somebody who had breast cancer, for example, and even after they've had treatment, they might develop an arm that's quite swollen. That can have something to do with the fact that when they had surgery, their lymphatic nodes or glands were removed during the surgery, and that caused a blockage in the system. And that means that where fluid should move away from that arm normally, because the surgery would have included taking lymph glands from underneath the arm on the side of the breast where there was cancer. And so fluid is left behind in that arm. It can no longer properly drain away because the lymph nodes were taken away, causing a blockage in the lymphatic system. So that's called lymphedema. It's one of those conditions where you can have the lymphatic system blocked, and that leads to a swollen arm. It could happen in the legs, depending on whatever is causing the blockage. In this particular example I'm referring to, it's cancer, but it could happen in other different conditions. And so what generally happens is that the lymphatic system moves excess fluid from the tissues to the lymph vessels and nodes, helping to get rid of any toxins, inflammation, and so on. So this manual lymphatic drainage procedure or technique is to help get rid of that excess fluid. And it can be used in different medical conditions. After breast cancer surgery, it's found to be of some benefit in conditions like fibromyalgia, lipedema, rheumatoid arthritis, and in cosmetic procedures and aesthetics. It can help to reduce facial puffiness. It can even help to improve the glow of the skin because it helps circulation to get going again. So there are medical reasons for this procedure. Okay, so it is a medically recognized, that is manual lymphatic drainage is a recognized medical procedure, and it is commonly used when you have something called lymphedema, which is what happens where for different reasons there is a blockage in the lymphatic system. So that's the first thing that we should take away. The second thing is what I've referred to it a little bit. What's the process like? Is it surgery? Is there any cut into the body? No, not at all. Using light pressure and rhythm to help the lymph get going. They tend to focus on specific areas like under the arm or on the groin, and then they massage the fluid towards those nodes in those areas. So this is trying to redirect the fluid, away from where it's accumulating, so it can flow better and ease itself into the circulation and then be excreted or gotten rid of by the organs like the liver and the kidney and so on. So that's the procedure. That's one of the main procedures that Zoe had. It's a medical procedure. Now, the application in this instance is to the abdomen. Okay, so I didn't mention abdomen in any of these examples I've talked about. So this is one slightly different thing. It's being applied to the abdomen. Well, would that cause any problems or not? We'll get to the risks. Hang on a second, we'll get to the risks. What about the benefits of this procedure? Let's have a quick look. What are its benefits? So you can already imagine if there was congestion or blockage, this would help to resolve that. It will reduce swelling, fluid retention. It helps to support the immune function. It can enhance the appearance of skin. Like we said, it gets rid of puffiness. It can even help with stress, because if you're feeling congested and bloated or you're just generally heavy, this could help to manage that. And it's thought to be generally safe. And there are no, if there are no contraindications. And that's where I really want you to pay attention, because what it means is that not everybody can have this procedure. So let's not all rush down and think, oh, it's fine, it's not going to cause a problem. It is something that you should have a conversation with your doctor about to check, is this safe for me? So then what are the risks of this condition? So here it is. I found out that there are certain conditions that you might have where you should not have a lymphatic drainage. One of them is if you have a blood clot or deep vein thrombosis. That is a blood clot, okay? If you have cellulitis or infection of your skin, if you suffer with kidney failure, any heart disease, if you've had a stroke, or if you currently, at the time of that procedure, are experiencing a fever, okay? And of course, if anybody's providing the massage, they should avoid areas with active cancer or skin that's been damaged by radiation. So please, please, let us be careful. It sounds like a simple, straightforward massage. Oh, what could be the harm? Be careful, because certain conditions or people with certain conditions should not have this problem. If you're giving this kind of massage, it may dislodge a clot, for example. Okay? It may move a clot from where it's located to other parts of the body, such as the lungs, which can cause a life-threatening condition. People with cellulitis, infections, fever, heart disease, and so on should avoid it. What about side effects? Side effects are supposed to be rare, but might include fatigue, headaches, or nausea. Okay, now this is referring to the manual lymphatic drainage or manual lymphatic drainage massage. Oops, there goes my alarm. All right, so that's generally referring to that particular procedure. But don't forget, Zoe here had a combination of 3 different things to be able to get her from the top picture to the bottom picture. So they added in the Brazilian version of this manual lymphatic drainage. Let us talk a little bit about what the Brazilian version means, because I thought that was really intriguing. I thought that was interesting. What's the Brazilian version got to do? So when I was looking into this, I actually found something interesting, and I think that one of the due diligence acts or practices that you should have if you're thinking about this procedure, you need to check whoever the therapist that you found, whether on Instagram or whatever. You really need to find out how grounded they are, how are they licensed for this procedure, what experience do they have, because you don't want to put yourself in the hands of just anybody. Okay, anything that relates to any kind of cosmetic procedure, you really need to scrutinize it very, very carefully. And for some people, £120 an hour may not be like a big deal, but it can be very expensive if you put yourself in the hands of somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. So anyway, I found this interesting site, the London School of Massage. which talks about this Brazilian manual lymphatic drainage massage and sculpting. And so basically, this is a two, I think it's a 2-day course. Yes, 2-day training course for people with massage experience. And it says, unlike traditional manual lymphatic drainage, the Brazilian MLD combines therapeutic lymphatic drainage with advanced body contouring techniques. I don't know what these body contouring techniques, but I just wanted you guys to know that when Brazilian is added into the mix, it's not just the massage, there is additional contouring into the mix. And there was something else that Zoe had done in that 1 hour, if you guys have picked up on it. There was the ultrasonic cavitation and radio frequency treatments. So what is ultrasonic cavitation? And you might have heard of this before, because these are sort of, in the cosmetic and aesthetic world, fairly common practices or procedures where people are having different treatments, probable alternatives to things like liposuction, so they're less invasive and so less dangerous, if you like. And so they're getting more and more popular. But there's this interesting video I found about cavitation, which, let me share my screen so that we can watch it together, and then we can have a further conversation and answer that question. Should you have this procedure, or should you just run? Should you run away from it? Let me share my screen. Okay, so we're going to be watching this video. Let me double check that my screen share is on. Let me put my sound up so you can hear properly, because I'm going to play the video for a few seconds. Let's see. Oh, it's not going to let me play the video. I don't think it's going to let me play the video. Oh, that's a shame. Oh no, I tell a lie. This is the video. Okay, here we go.
Today we're diving into a hot topic in the aesthetics world: ultrasound fat cavitation. As someone who's been in this industry for over a decade, I've seen lots of trends come and go. But fat cavitation? It's stuck around, and for good reason. So, does ultrasound fat cavitation really work? In my experience, yes, it does. But let's be real, it's not a magic wand. Think of it more like a helpful tool in your body shaping toolkit. I've chatted with tons of clients and experts about this, and they all agree when used correctly, it can be super effective. Now, let's break down how this actually works. Imagine your fat cells are like tiny water balloons. Ultrasound fat cavitation uses sound waves to gently pop these balloons. But here's the cool part: it doesn't remove the balloons entirely. It just empties them out. This means you're less likely to see fat popping up in weird places later on, which can happen with more aggressive treatments like liposuction. At Wellaholic, we love offering this as a gentler alternative to invasive procedures. It's like tidying up your room instead of complete.
Okay, I'm going to put the link in the description box below. Let me stop sharing. I'll put the link in the description box if you want to watch that video, learn more about this procedure. That's fine. So this is a low frequency ultrasound treatment that is supposed to help to what's the best way to put this, melt fat or dissolve fat. I think the only thing I like about this is the realism, or being practical, that it's not just something that you go and have this treatment and then you continue eating or just behaving the same way as usual when it comes to food intake. It's not going to work. So it's a combination of different things. You can have this treatment perhaps for targeted parts of the body, like the tummy, for example, but you should have a healthy eating plan. You should have a regular form of activity, because you're just using this procedure to complement what you're doing. It's not just going to be suck out or melt away all the fat. It's not that kind of fast miracle cure. So these are the components. Again, I've gone through all this in detail just to share with you. These are the components of, oh, hang on, keep this on. These are the components of the treatment that Zoe had. So the question again I have is, does it work? Now, I think there's enough to suggest that there can be some effect to some extent. If you go to have this massage, if you go to have this ultrasound cavitations, radio frequency treatments, to some extent, yes, it would help with moving the lymphatics around. It will help to do some adjustments to the cells. I really struggle with that amazing change in an hour. That's really amazing. That is interesting, because you can see, if you look closely at Zoe's midriff, her abdomen, you can see just how different it is. And what they're expecting us to believe is that by massage, by combination of ultrasound treatment, they went from this to that in 1 hour. It's really, really tough to believe, really, really hard to believe. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to, of course, it's not a long-term, it's not a long-term treatment, it's not a long-term solution, because what happens after a week, what happens after 2 weeks. I think that, okay, this procedure might have done something for the first few hours, maybe it'll go on for a couple of days, and then, especially if you're not complementing things with your diet and exercise, the bloat is going to come back, isn't it? So how often are you going to have these 120 pounds per hour treatment? So in the first instance, I think, let's consider that. How long is it going to last? Your guess is as good as mine. I'm not a cosmetologist, I'm not an esthetician, and I haven't had this procedure, but I would query using this procedure alone to solve the problem. It may be that, say, for example, you're preparing for a really important event, a 50th party, you want to look your best, you want to get into this outfit that you've been getting yourself ready for. And so for that event, you could have that temporary sculpting or silhouette effect. That's probably how this would work. And I'm happy to be corrected by anybody who knows better. Please come on. But here are my thoughts in terms of, when I'm spending 120 quid, what am I expecting to get out of it? The next question is, what does it do? We've gone through this in detail. We've spoken about the effect on the fat cells, what the low frequency ultrasound is doing, and what the lymphatic massage is doing. These are relatively low risk procedures, but for certain category of people. And by the way, if you go through and watch the video to the end for the ultrasound cavitation treatment, and read the article to the end, and I will put this in the link for the description box. It also gives its warning about who should and shouldn't have this. Like, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it says who should avoid ultrasonic cavitation. Let me share the screen, because I think this is really important. I don't want people to assume that, because Zoe had it, it's fine for everybody. That's not the case. So let's quickly read it. It says, who should avoid ultrasonic cavitation? And it says, it's generally safe and painless, but not suitable for everyone. So please be careful. So if you have any acute or contagious disease, HIV, history of cancer, kidney failure, liver failure, fatty liver, if you have implant devices like pacemakers, epilepsy, or multiple sclerosis, you should not undergo ultrasonic cavitation. So always have a look. Have a closer look on the tin to be sure that is this suitable for you. So this is it. What do I think? Yeah, 120 pounds per hour. Like I said, there's some people who, if they had a certain function, or just trying to get rid of extra pounds for a short period of time, because again, I don't know how long this is going to last. I'd be very interested. If you know, please drop it in the comment section. So that we work out what the value of this will be. And I think that will be useful for those who are thinking about having it. But for short term, if you wanted to sort of trim your tummy, get into a particular outfit, yeah, might do the trick. But is it going to continue for the next 2-3 weeks or month? You're probably going to go back and have more and more treatments if you need to continue to maintain that look. Why not go with the option of trying to stick to a healthy diet and exercise? And remember, at the beginning I said this is a tough, tricky problem. It's a challenge for us women as we go into that menopause. It is trickier to lose to lose weight, to lose the pounds. But it's not just one thing at that point when you're going through menopause. It's not just the physical, it's also the mental. There's so many things, the emotional, so many things that are contributing to how you're feeling and your experience. So this is where we come to on this this body transformation. What would you do it? Please let me know. Is this something that you'd consider? Now that we've broken it down, now that you've seen Zoe's experience, is it something that you would try if you're in that situation? Let me know. Or is it something that you've done already? If you stumble on this video and you've done it already, you found it very useful, let me know. let's just check out a couple of comments. I've been running late. So 305 Capricorn says, no, this was done. Was this done in the US? Well, I hear that a lot of your stars in the US have been doing this. So Kim Kardashian, Jennifer Aniston, Hailey Bieber, I understand, have done this according to the article that we read. But this particular instance I'm referring to, this was done in the United Kingdom, in London. So I don't know. And then Messina Newton. Hi, Messina. Thank you so much for joining. Where are you watching from? Thank you so much for joining. So, guys, that's about Zoe's body transformation and what it means, its implications. My only recommendation is just be careful in terms of any health issues that you have. These conditions could pose a risk to certain individuals. I'm a bit on the fence in terms of whether it's actually worth your buck. In terms of how well it works. And if you have any information that can help us make that decision, please come and share them in the comment section and let us know. We're going to take a quick break before we go on to the next section. And I will see you just in under, 40 seconds? Feeling unwell but dreading the wait for a doctor's appointment? We get it. Life doesn't stop for health concerns, and neither should you. Your GP consultation connects you to licensed healthcare professionals from the comfort of your own home. No waiting rooms, no hassle. Discuss symptoms, get advice, or manage ongoing care, all through secure video calls and chat. It's healthcare that fits your schedule. From hormonal balance to menstrual health, thyroid concerns, or menopause care, our GPs are here to listen. Get personalized, discreet care that's tailored to your needs. Whether it's a minor illness or just a question that you've got, we're here to help you stay proactive about your health. Your GP consultation, because healthcare should work for you. Visit our website to book your consultation today. Okay, welcome back. I think I am unmuted, Now, there was something I was supposed to do at the beginning of the session. I completely forgot. You guys know that often, well, a lot of the time we do Q&As and on our live streams, and I usually pick up questions that people have sent into the channel, and I just love having that conversation again to help to signpost, answer anything that's just sort of around health information and guidance, not necessarily advice. But anyway, I like to do that on the channel. And I think 2 weeks ago, I think it was a topic that we covered around heavy bleeding and different issues. I can't remember everything altogether. And so we dealt with, we had that conversation on the live stream, and I replied to the lady who sent in the post and said, hey, check out the live stream from this time to that time. And then she sent this lovely, lovely response. And I just want to read it out because I want you know yourself. And I just want you to know how much I really appreciate you taking the time to just respond back, because lots of people, you share the information and then I don't know whether they see it or not, and I don't always hear back. But whenever I hear back, I really appreciate that. And your, I think I replied and said that you really made my day. If I didn't, then you really did make my day. But let me just read this out. So she says, thank you for taking your time to answer my questions. Sorry for my lengthy question and bad spelling. It wasn't, don't worry. And she says, you really are a lifesaver. I've never heard of menstrual cups. They don't have them at the store here, but I ordered some online. Thanks. That will save me so much money. I set an appointment with Planned Parenthood for a new birth control. My mom had negative results with Depot, but we are very different, so I'll test it for myself. I do prefer no pills since I have 2 Snoopy babies who put everything in their mouth. Laugh out loud. Looking for OBGYNs near me now just to get a checkup because the conditions you named can be serious. Both my aunt and grandma had ovarian cancer, had to get their womb removed, so I'm urgently seeing a specialist whenever I'm able. All 3 women in my family are gone now. I don't want to have my life cut short neither. Like I said, you're a lifesaver. Thank you. You are so very welcome. Thank you so much for just taking the time to pen down your just hearing that the information that we talked about was useful, and that you're actually taking steps to do things because of our conversation. I'm so proud of you and I'm so thankful. And I hope things go well with your OBGYN appointments. And yeah, for you and your kids and your family. And yeah, just turn the tide on women their lives being cut short. Please be the one to turn the tide in your family. Let it end. Let it stop. Information is empowering. So I'm so glad that you sent that information. Thank you. You know yourself. Thank you so much for doing that. Okay, let's get back into the conversation. So the second one that we're talking about is a little bit more serious. I was not happy when I saw this. I really felt alarmed. Is the NHS forcing women to have sterilization? Now, when I say forcing, it's not that they're sort of, they're not doing any sort of drastic things, but it comes across as quite pushy and quite persistent, and it takes a woman from a place where it was not in the last thing in her mind, and all of a sudden she's being made to feel as if she should have it. And so it is worrying, and I really want to, the reason I've brought this up as a conversation is because I want women to be very wary and be aware of the fact that you do not have to and should not be pushed into anything that you do not want. And if you are offered anything at your consultation, whether it's with your GP or your specialist, you have the right to say, no, thank you, or to say, I'd like to go away and think about this, please. And I'm not ready for this. Very firmly, okay, very firmly. You don't have to. You shouldn't, but please don't allow yourself to be persuaded or coerced. No, the word is coerced. Coerced is a better word, because it's something that you probably don't want to do, but because of some pressure here or there, you may find yourself. And I really am concerned that perhaps this is the tip of the iceberg, and we don't know. Perhaps there are other women who have had these conversations and have felt pressured into accepting this. Anyway, let me share my screen. Let us go through the conversation. Let me know what you guys think about this. Again, the only teachable element I have for this, I'm not bringing up any slides or anything here. My only teachable aspect for this is, please don't allow yourself to be coerced. Please own your own healthcare. We as clinicians are here to provide you with guidance, information, help you make informed decisions. So our job is to give you the information and support you. You are the one in charge of your health and making the decisions about your health. Let me share my screen, and then we're going to read this. We're going to read this article. It's a bit of a long one, and again, I will put the link in the description box as well, so that you can have a proper look. So I might cut off some bits just to save time. I've started at so this article is from The Spectator. It's quite recent. I can't see the date here. It's quite recent. Anyway, I think it's March. Yes, 8th of March, 2025. All right, so this is an article by Flora Watkins. Why is the NHS pushing pregnant women towards sterilization? So the person whose experience is being shared says, it was a routine antenatal appointment. The obstetrician runs through the risks of an elective cesarean section. We agree a date, blah, blah, blah. And then she says, I was blindsided by her opening gambit. Why don't we tie your tubes when we've got the baby out? She said. I don't recall the exact words, but I remember the heat in my chest, the confusion and fear. What? It's your third child, isn't it? So why don't we tie your tubes at the same time? And then what's really worrying is that despite the shock that this question brought, she wouldn't drop it. And she was ignoring my every assertion that I did not want this done to me. See, that's why I'm worried. Let me just come off share for a second. See, that's why I wanted to bring this up. Like I said, I don't have any slides or any diagrams to show you on this one. I'm just concerned that maybe there's some of us who may be a little bit, not depending on where we are. Sometimes you're in a sort of difficult place and feel as if, oh, it's a medical doctor you're speaking to, they know better, and you think, okay, you just agree to something. There's certain conversations that you don't really have to make the decision at that time, okay? Because this is somebody who was speaking to a doctor. The surgery was still weeks away, okay? So they wouldn't bring it up just the day before. This was planning. They're planning for her C-section. So there's still quite a few weeks. You didn't have to take a decision. I'm just saying to any of my, ladies, sisters, anyone out there who finds yourself in this scenario, please remember this video, and, please remember that you don't have to say yes. If you feel pressured, you say, do you know what? I need to discuss this or think a little bit about this. I'm not agreeing to it. I want to think about it. Or be very firm and say, no, no, no. as many times as they offer it. Okay, let's continue reading because there's still a bit more that is revealed in this article. Okay, so she says it's a very simple procedure when you open on the table. And she said, I've since learned that it isn't. I lost it after that. So she changed tack, offering to pop in a Mirena coil at the same time. Again, a hard no from me. So let me scroll down because what she says is she had a conversation with a friend of hers who apparently had the same discussion with her own different consultants. So this writer felt there's something more to this than meets the eye. So eventually, after she had her baby, and that was a bit of a traumatic experience, and ironically, just as life happens, the baby that was born after this conversation, there were some issues, there were some health complications at baby's birth. So imagine if she'd agreed to a sterilization. This is a lady who's still in her early or mid 30s. So she still has quite a long potential for bearing other children. And assuming she'd agreed to a sterilization at that point, imagine, it's really, really upsetting, really upsetting. Okay, let's continue the story. I'm sorry I keep breaking. It's just that it does bring up a lot of upset when just reading that. Anyway, so she goes on to say, after this experience, thankfully her little baby got a lot better and got stronger, surprised all the experts, doing very well. And so she then later on reflected on this experience of being advised to have a sterilization at the same time of having her C-section. Beg your pardon. So she says she posted on social media about what the obstetrician had said, and then within a few days got some responses, 7 responses in a good geographical spread in the United Kingdom. And women had been told about this, so wasn't a one-off or two-off. And she says all the women I spoke to had been traumatized by these unsolicited offers and confused about why they had been targeted. Most felt it was a judgment on the number of children they should have. All of them were surprised to learn that it hadn't just happened to them. And so there's examples, there's, women's experience. I don't want us to spend too long. Let me quickly scroll down. So the person who's writing this article did her investigations. She wanted to know, where is this coming from? How is this a policy that you offer a woman to be sterilized when she's having a C-section? Where is this coming from? And I think that's a good question. She approached the National Institute for Health and Clinical Excellence, NICE, which advises the NHS. It doesn't have a policy. And they asked her to go to the Royal College of O&Gs, and they didn't comment, and asked them to go to the Faculty of Sexual and Reproductive Healthcare, which advises women on contraception. And she spoke to its president, Dr. Janet Barter. So let me just hold here, because I know Janet. I work with Janet. She's a lovely, lovely woman and a lovely obstetrician. And I'm so comforted by the fact that she took time to listen and then provide the explanation, very much needed explanation that for this lady. So let's read out everything that Janet said, because I think that's really important. So Janet says, I feel she listened. That's important to say. She listened. And she said, I feel I should apologize on behalf of the medical profession. It judges women. And Janet says, or Dr. Barter says, when I was in obstetrics 30 years ago, it was quite standard to almost tell women they needed to be sterilized after their 3rd C-section. Now, I as a GP, I wasn't even aware of this. I wasn't aware about this. But anyway, let's finish what Janet says. After their 3rd C-section, but surgery has improved enormously since then. I point out that is the writer of this article. I point out that safety concerns were only raised with one of the women, and in most cases, the doctor had simply assumed they wouldn't have any more children or thought that they shouldn't. That sounds shocking, agrees Dr. Barter, because it is the woman's right to choose how many children she has. We encourage obstetricians and midwives to think with women about what contraception they want to use after the baby. But this should take the form of an utterly non-judgmental conversation with you at some safe point in your pregnancy. Dr. Barter says sterilization is a highly emotive subject because historically it is something that has been done to women against their will. Yes. Yes. And she also points out that sterilization or tubal ligation is less successful and less safe when done at the same time as a cesarean section. This, I think, those are the key elements in this article. And I really encourage women to read it, be informed. Okay, be informed. Yes, your doctor or your midwife should have a conversation with you about appropriate contraception at opportune times. For us in primary care, for example, we usually have that conversation the first 6 weeks after the baby is born. So that's your postnatal check. For those of you who've had kids in the UK, you would have that meeting with your doctor. We check how you're getting on, how things, so many different things we look into, your mood, how you're coping with baby, your wound, breastfeeding, and so on, bottle feeding, and so on. One of the issues that we talk about is birth control or contraception. We ask you, have you thought about this? Have you thought of options? Would you like to have some? And then we look at the different options that you have available, because we want to make that decision with you, not for you, not force it on you, and certainly not at a vulnerable time of your life, which is when you're pregnant, both emotionally, goodness knows what else they're thinking about, getting ready for a new baby. Having to think about sterilization at that time is terrible, it's awful. And just like Dr. Barter said, and she's the president of the Faculty of Sexual and Reproductive Health Care, which is the leading organization that trains clinicians on sexual health, birth control, reproduction. It's unsafe to have that procedure, that is sterilization or tying your tubes, at the same time as the CS. It's crazy. Now, if I were to play an advocate and think of what they used to do 30 years ago, I can appreciate possibly to some extent you didn't have the birth control options you have now. You wanted to look at preserving a woman's life, or I don't know, you could look at different reasons to justify back then, but certainly not at this point where there are different options, plus the risk of going through of having that procedure. So that's why I'm insistent that women should not allow themselves to be persuaded, coerced, intimidated, frightened. Please, it's not the right thing to do. Any doctor, any person in your pregnancy who's saying to you, oh, why don't you think of this? Why don't you think of that? No, don't allow yourself to be railroaded or shoved into something before you're ready. Okay, it doesn't, I know it sounds as if it's convenient. Oh, while you're on the table, we can just pop this in, or we can just cut this. No, have your CS and be done with it. There's some procedures where they would say, oh, do you know what? We could do this at the same time. For example, somebody who's having a termination of pregnancy, and there may be a conversation at the same time with you to say, would you like any form of contraception? For example, the coil can be started at the same time. That conversation, some people can have it. You could argue whether that is even the best time to have that because of the frame of mind of the woman contemplating such a decision, but certainly not when one is pregnant, when she's not asked for it, is not solicited. It's really not appropriate. I don't agree with it. I think it's very unfair, and it's not really showing support for a woman. And it is not NHS policy. It is not a policy. It is not something that's set in stone that has to be done. It is not. So you can definitely say, no, thank you. And my last word really on this, and which is why I felt really upset, was, just as was mentioned in the article, that this is something that has been done. This is something that has been done, forced on women to have certain conditions. For example, in the Czech Republic, when I was doing my research, between 1966 and 2012, it says thousands of Roma women were sterilized without consent during labor or during their post-CS recovery. Consent forms were often signed under duress, and many women didn't know about the reversible nature of the procedure. And that was as recent as 1966 to 2012. It says the government formally apologized in 2009, and they passed compensation laws just 4 years ago in 2021. They had similar situations in Uzbekistan between 2005 and the 2010s. There was a secret state program that targeted women for sterilization during C-sections to control population growth. This is real. Okay, I'm not saying by any means that that's what's happening in the NHS. I'm just telling you how cold I felt when I read this and worried about, the historical background of these things. Then in the United States, it's happened. There were different cases. There were Mexican American women in the 1970s in Los Angeles coerced into sterilization during C-sections. They said doctors pressured them in labor using pain relief as leverage to sign English consent forms they couldn't understand. That's wicked. That's just wicked. There were ICE detention centers. This is not something that was, that was in the 70s. This is in the 2020s. It says ICE detention centers. Immigrant women in Georgia reported non-consensual hysterectomy during C-sections with poor translation and deceptive explanations. In California prisons, nearly 150 female inmates between 2006 and 2010 underwent tubal ligations during childbirth, often under coercion. In Northern Ireland, 2021, oh wow, a woman was sterilized without consent during an emergency C-section. At Daisy Hill Hospital, the doctor admitted violating her reproductive rights, citing a lapse of judgment. So, you know what? Like I said, I felt really bad about this. Yeah, this is it. This is on the BBC. David Sim. Let me share my screen because I didn't look that up actually. I've just opened it up. Let me show you guys. Yeah, this is it. David Sim, doctor suspended for sterilizing women without permission. This is December 2023 BBC. A consultant gynecologist who admitted sterilizing a woman without her permission has been suspended for practicing for 12 months. Only suspended for 12 months, really? Wow. Wow. Without her consent. Wow. This is shocking. Shocking. Really shocking. Okay, I've read all this out, to show you this situation. I'm going to put the links in the description box so that you can read it yourself. I just want you to be empowered. I just want you to be informed. If you're pregnant, if you're an immigrant, of course, we're very conscious about systemic racism. And, my worry is, of course, about women who may not speak English fluently, who may not understand what they're signing, who may not have support. I'm really, really concerned. And I would love for us to really study this and know if is there more to this than actually meets the eye? Is there more to this situation? I don't know. It would be good to have a further investigation into this and, work out the extent to which this is going on. But I saw this article. I wanted to bring it to our attention. Please, if you watched this, share it with a friend, share it with a sister. Let's watch out for each other. I want to believe that this is in the very minority, and that with the information coming out from this article, from us having this conversation here, this dies a total, completely fades out of existence. I want to believe that, and I hope that is the situation, that we don't hear of women who suddenly find themselves sterilized and they didn't realize it. They never consented for it. So that is where we round things up today. I'm sorry that it's a bit on a dull notes, but the purpose of this is for us to be informed and to have the right care from health information that provides value. Guys, let me know how you're getting on. I hope your week ahead is brilliant, is beautiful. Let me know your thoughts in the description, in the comment section below. If you have any interesting stories like the ones we've talked about today, where there's some health information, health education to be gained from them, please let me know. You guys know I love to hear from you. But till next week, look out for the video coming out on Thursday. There's a lot of interest in the video we just published on post-CS belly pain, and I think it has a really useful discussion. If you're interested in that, please go and check it out. I just published that on Thursday. Yeah, but watch out for next videos, a few upcoming videos coming out later on in the week, and of course another live stream. I'll be back with you next week Sunday. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. Mwah. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh. Feeling unwell but dreading the wait for a doctor's appointment? We get it. Life doesn't stop for health concerns, and neither should you. Your GP consultation connects you to licensed healthcare professionals from the comfort of your own home. No waiting rooms, no hassle. Discuss symptoms, get advice, or manage ongoing care, all through secure video calls and chat. It's healthcare that fits your schedule. From hormonal balance to menstrual health, thyroid concerns, or menopause care, our GPs are here to listen. Get personalized, discreet care that's tailored to your needs. Whether it's a minor illness or just a question that you've got, we're here to help you stay proactive about your health. Your GP consultation, because healthcare should work for you. Visit our website to book your consultation today.